Baldur's Gate 3 is filled with quests, and you know, it gets quite hard when you sit down and just think, what are my favorites? Which one can I not wait to do again? But guess what? That's what I did today. So I compiled a little bit of a top 10 Baldur's Gate quests / missions, whatever you want to call it, with honorable mentions. So just to be clear, this top 10 is honestly also based on what I just look forward to doing again when I start a new campaign. So yeah, let's just get into it. No further ado. In the 10th spot is the Githyanki Creche. This one is a bigger one. It's pretty much Lae'zel's mission, but I simply find it so fascinating. I feel like we get a better insight on how the Gith's everyday life works, and it is so nice to see so many different kinds of Giths, all extremely powerful. I love the fights. They are thrilling and at times difficult, as there are so many Giths and they're all super strong. But I like that. And while I know that this is broad, I'm also including the part where you put those weapons and tools on the table, just cause that's a neat little detail, you know? But other than that, the area of the map is not that big because you're honestly just going into the Shadow Curse lands pretty much right after this. But there are a few things to do while being surrounded by said Giths, which, as I said, I enjoy, as long as we're friendly, but we all know that it gets violent fast. But it adds a lot to the story, and shout out to Lae'zel's comment about the Gith's youth's quarters being too comfortable for her tastes. I think that's funny. I mean, look at that porridge on the floor. Nothing says too comfortable like porridge on the floor. And just the whole thing with convincing one of them to give you the single last Gith egg that's in there. Like, how is that even possible? I mean, it's fun, but wow, bad parenting, huh? Now it's time for the number 9 spot. Number 9th. The 9th. Yes. And to me, rescuing Minsk is the 9th spot. It's quite the fun mission, because to me it was so unexpected. I had no idea that he was even a part of the game. And you can honestly easily miss him, if you don't care about Jaheira's mission anyway. Which I clearly do. Who wouldn't care about Jaheira? An absolute queen. For me, this mission also connects with defending Nine Fingers that are like, they're underground, right? Like the girl, like Nine Fingers, the guild, which I also enjoy. Just a little fight, you know? The best part by far, I feel like, is the Minsk reveal of it all. Like, how boss is it that he just emerges from a mimic like that? Oh my god. Like, hi Minsk, welcome to the part. Hey, no, where'd he go? Oh, of course. The sewers. Everyone is just hiding in the sewers. Do y'all know what the sewers consist of? Get out of there, man. I mean, it's a good place to hide a nether brain, but come on. But never mind all that. You get a lovely himbo out of the ordeal, so I really can't get too mad. Now for my 8th spot. I will say I have just about had it with people trying to mess with my girl Aileen. Like, I get it. She's the night song. She can make you immortal. Blah, blah, blah. Well, just get over that already. What is so great about living forever anyway? I'm saying all of this to say that all my homies hate Lorroakan. I don't even want to look up how to say his name or if that's even his name, because he's a greedy little bee who just wants to live forever, but he's also a piece of crap that beats on his employees, or I guess students. Justice for my friend Roland. He does not deserve being treated so badly after everything he and his siblings have been through. So therefore, defeating Lorroakan, or whatever his name is quite satisfying. He is not worth the soil he stands on. And the fact that his thing are elementals make me mad and sad, because I have a weird soft spot for them. But with that being said, I do really like the fight. I think it's good, and getting the books all around in his little library, and yeah, just defeating him is great. So that is my 8th spot. At spot 7, we have the Get Nere's Head mission. I love the Myconiids Myconids? I actually have no idea how you say their name either, but I do love them for some reason. I just think they're gorgeous and interesting creatures. I could not help them. Like, look how gorgeous their leader is. And then we have Nere. He's just a little bumhole. I mean, he might be pretty to some of y'all, and I suppose I don't disagree. But that's besides the point. That pretty head belongs to the Myconid. Leader of, regardless of what it looks like the head, you know? The head, his head, yeah. I enjoy this mission in particular because of the lovely revenge aspect of it all, but also because you actually get to save some deep gnomes at the same time. That includes Barkus, which I think is just neat. He might be a little weird and off-putting, but he's our little weirdo. Referring to Barkus here, of course, not Nere. I mean, Barkus also has a lot on his shoulders. Attempting to stop Wulbren from being stupid and power-hungry. A great cause, in my opinion. But all that is not the point. The point is that Nere's head will now grow fungi, which is just neat. Neat, Nere. Instead of, not you, Nere. I don't know, I tried something. Once again, my savior complex comes into play, I suppose, because my 6th spot goes to rescue the Tieflings / Wulbren. I think this quest is vital. I will not skip it. Even though Wulbren is not always the greatest. I mean, me and my homies do hate Wulbren, but that does not mean I won't save him and the other Deep Iron gnomes. And that includes the Tieflings, of course, as not only do I have a soft spot for them, but come on, Larissa is there, and she is easily one of the coolest ones. How could I refuse? I know it's possible to do this a less violent way, but I usually just get rid of the warden, all the scurrying eyes, and all the other guards, so that I can successfully help them out of there. However, I still prefer to use the back rooms out. Wait, no, what? No, not those back rooms! You know, the way where Wulbren uses his hammer and you take the boat out of there? Yeah, you know. Despite them having to be searched when getting to Last Light Inn, they are safe at last. And it just makes me happy, and of course, it builds a closer relationship to the people you have saved, which is just great. The biggest point of doing this is seeing Alfira and Larissa reunite. So dang adorable. At number 5 is the Goblin camp for me, specifically defeating the Goblin leaders. Now this is almost purely because it leads to Helsen being saved, but on the other hand, it's also the first time stuff really gets real when it comes to fighting. There are lots of Goblin blood to be spilt, and it's quite exciting. From now on though, I choose to knock Minthera out rather than get rid of her, because, well, she's alright as far as an evil paladin drow goes. But I think the other leaders are interesting as well. The priestess has her charm in the beginning. Now that's a girl boss! She wants to put some sort of symbol on me, but nah, man. I'm just gonna get rid of her and call it a day. See ya in hell, girly! Maybe literally, you know, because the 9, one of the hells. Yup, something like that. And the Hobgoblin is cool too. In his own way, I guess. He wants power just as much as the next guy. However, as far as Hobgoblins go, I must say I prefer Umalum's bestie / maybe lover Blurg, but I digress. My 4th spot goes to nothing but defeating Ketheric Thorm. Now, this is just so gosh darn cool. Stuff really gets real with this mission, like more than the Goblin camp, of course. Like, this guy is such an evil man, with honestly such an epic backstory. In the worst way, low-key. His last words will forever traumatize me, just, Isabel. Like, oh, we all know what you okay, whatever. I'm getting ahead of myself. The only thing I'm sad about is the fact that we don't get to see him be more and more evil. Because in a way, we get to know Gortash and Orin pretty well, but not Ketheric. He's just gone with the wind. I mean, after getting rid of a literal god, he leaves the world, finally. But no, I find the fight so good. Setting Aileen free, again, of course, is the priority so that she can help us, because man, the woman is strong, like wow, a valuable asset for sure. I love that when you think you've defeated Ketheric in his very first form, like when you confront him at Moonrise Towers for the first time, he just leaps away with the help of what I can only assume is one of the Netherbrain's tentacles. Like, what a coward, man. What are you doing, dog? Get back here and face me. Oh, you won't? Well, then I'll just jump right after you. I think it just initiates such a cool ass cutscene where we get to see Orin, Gortash, and him speak, and then we're just ready to throw some hands because they put a tadpole in Will's dad. Like, no! The Duke! Yeah, not great, but definitely love defeating him. It is absolutely one of my favorite missions, hence why it is on spot number 4. So I realize that number 3 might be pushing it a little bit in regards to if it's just one quest, cause it's really actually not. But as you can tell, it's not the first time that I do that on this list. So therefore, I'm just rolling with it. So going to the House of Hope is basically the spot number 3. It is such a thrill from the very beginning. We are aware that Raphael will absolutely not be happy with what we're about to do, whether or not that be ripping up our contract or stealing the Orphic Hammer. It doesn't really matter because they're in the same spot. Spoiler alert. My favorite part of this mission, though, is honestly saving Hope. And not long after that, defeating Raphael. Like, wow. I guess his life was not that immortal after all. It just screams perfect mission. I'm always so excited to go back and hang out with Harlip. For no particular reason, I'm just actually there to see him. You know, like I kind of know him. I don't know, I've seen I don't know why. I'm just here. I'm like literally just here, you know. He's a good guy. I don't know. Oh, he's an incubus, you say? Okay, well, I don't know. I thought he was okay, moving on. And at spot number 2 is Emerald Grove, aka for me, Save the Refugees. This one might be obvious and also cheating a little bit because it is also a very broad mission. Like, what does the Emerald Grove entail exactly? Well, to me, it is interesting and a great mission because you can take a lot of different routes. Although I almost always go the same route, I try to keep everyone safe and keep things cool with the druids. I certainly don't go against the Tieflings, that's for sure, but I also do not choose to get rid of Kagna. I love the fact that you can do so much around there, but also just like get scammed by some Tiefling children. That's great. But it makes me just so happy when the Tieflings can go free again after all that we've been through. You know, we've been through so much together and I'm there for them. I honestly do recommend speaking to each one of them, since it does create a sense of knowing them better and, you know, a sense of closeness to them that you maybe wouldn't have otherwise. And the party that comes after you save them in your camp is just the icing on the cake. I am always excited about that. You never know what or who could come your way at that party. Wink, wink. Now, before going to the number 1 spot, I will go through my honorable mentions. So my honorable mention number 1 is the missing letters. I get it. It does not have much significance. You can move past it without being the wiser. But come on, you get to meet Tara. I feel like that's worth it. So the mission is just you going to the local post office in Baldur's Gate that's having some problems with their pigeons going missing. And you have to figure out why. Or rather, just get the letters back somehow. But that entails figuring out why they're missing. Quickly learn that the beautiful Tressum Tara is the responsible one, since she has a taste for pigeons. However, being one of Gale's friends, we convince her to stop eating the pigeons, and thus we can return the letters that have not been sent, cause well, of the pigeons being eaten, it's kinda hard to send letters. Yep. The shopkeeper is grateful and gives you a little reward. I just feel like it's a good place to start when entering Baldur's Gate, as it can get quite overwhelming. But, just an honorable mention, so let's move on to the next honorable mention. It is, to me, find dribbles. I think it's just so morbid, and I love the necromancer at the circus. She is amazing. It is just so silly, and you're like, what the heck? Is that his pelvis? What is going on? I have no idea what this will lead to, and honestly, it doesn't, spoiler alert, lead to much, but it just like feels like a reoccurring gag that is all throughout Baldur's Gate. So I think it's worth it. I say go for it because I think it's just... And I honestly forget where they are, some of the parts. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's where his leg was. Got it. And now, last but not least, this is my favorite quest. Will you guess it? It is the Iron Throne! Da-da-da-da-da! I know, like what? Why? Why this one opposed to something like another boss? Well, I simply love it because it's so tactically interesting to me, and saving all the Gondians is just immensely satisfying. Usually I hate! Just absolutely despise time-based missions. It gives me so much anxiety. But in this case, it just helps you to plan out how you're going to go about it. For me, I usually go for someone who can summon an elemental, if not more than one person, actually, ideally more than one person, so that I have some more brute force in my party. Since I want the players in my party to mainly focus on saving people, I usually put someone to the west, east, and south. Because there's no one to save north, I don't think. I think there might be loot up there, but that is definitely not my main focus when I play this quest. I usually send 2 people and maybe even an elemental for the road where Omelum is, as it has a lot of spawn points for the dreadful fish people guarding the Iron Throne. Omelum is one of the good ones, so you gotta save him. You just gotta. In this footage, I was unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending on how you look at it, not able to save him, because I never met him. I somehow skipped the Underdark. Oopsie. But no matter what, I still find this mission so satisfying to finish. And just saving the poor Gondians and sticking it to Gortash as well. I usually go right to the Steel Watch Foundry afterwards, because it's about that time. The time for Gortash to be put in his place, girlies. And so I know that it is random, but when it comes to the criteria of this little list, it is definitely at the top of my list of things that I look forward to when I restart a new playthrough. So, that was my list. I really want to hear what you guys like the best and look forward to when you guys start a new campaign, because honestly, we all have our favorites, don't we? So just let me know. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and kick Gortash in the buttocks! Unless you like him, then I guess there's someone for everybody, huh? And I will hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye, y'all!